Hey you, you're super. Hey everyone. So I think everyone in their One Piece fandom career has had the idea to make their own devil fruits, so I figured I'd take a stab at it and offer my 3 devil fruits. So first up, I want to introduce the needle fruit, then I want to introduce the metal fruit, and finally, probably the dumbest and least fleshed out of my 3 ideas, the tree fruit. The fruit I want to talk about that I quote unquote created would be I guess you could say, superior version to Miss Doublefinger's Togi no Mi or the Spike fruit. Now, to my understanding, it does not make her body as hard as metal, it lets her turn her body into spikes. But, I mean, she was able to do some crazy work. However, I think that if this fruit were to exist called the needle fruit, it would be a lot stronger and a lot more effective. One, most devil fruits in the Paramecia class, like this one that I'm coming up with now, it's going to have its own stipulations. So this one is not as flexible as hers. You can't just make it out of any part of your body. It would just be like your fingers, your toes, your nose, your teeth, your tongue. Like, you can make the needles out of it, and you could shoot them out like a porcupine. Kind of like this iconic weapon in Halo, the Needler. Easily one of my favorite weapons in video game history. You could also make the needles out of your hair, I guess, and that might make this fruit a little bit more broken because it would be like actual stainless steel metal needles. The reason I came up with this one is just because I personally thought that her fruit, although awesome, was lacking in the fact that it could still get tangled up and messy. And if she doesn't have hockey, like I don't think she did, if she didn't have enough hockey, I don't think that fruit was good in her hands. So this one would allow you to bypass the need of hockey at a certain level because your fruit is already metal. Just like Mr. One's blade fruit, which allows him to turn into a steel blade, doesn't make him a metal man. Because my next fruit is going to be the metal fruit, which I will talk about shortly. I want to introduce a potential Logia type devil fruit as the metal fruit. And I know that right off the jump it doesn't sound like you would be a Logia, you'd probably be more Paramecia, but here's my reasoning. If you can turn yourself into any type of metal, I feel like that automatically puts you in the natural metal class, which would be like a Logia class, because you're being naturally occurring substances and not some sort of man-made metal, because steel is like man-made. So anyways, as a metal person, you can go ahead and turn yourself as hard as any type of natural metal. So I think the hardest one would be tungsten and iridium. I did research on this, but it was a couple days ago, so I've already forgotten most of my stuff, but oh well. There's tons of different applications for this though. You know, gold, silver, platinum, you know, all of those metals have their own implications. You can also turn yourself into mercury, which would give you not only an intangible form, but a Magellan-like effect of complete toxicity and guaranteed death upon touching or consumption. Not only this, but you could generate crazy amounts of metal in the environment and potentially, and this would be a stretch, but let's say you awaken as a metal person, you might be able to turn surfaces to metal, which would be a little crazy because turning a person metal, or like maybe, you know, wrapping metal around their foot or what have you and just dropping them in the sea, that's that. Unless, you know, maybe dropping someone into the sea with your devil fruit generated metal might just make the metal dissipate. Remains to be seen. You know, obvious weaknesses for this fruit would be too much heat or someone who can hit the crap out of you. But for the most part, I really feel like a metal fruit would be very interesting. You know, you'd be Metal Mario basically, and you know, coating yourself with that kind of metal, which means naturally, if you didn't have much hockey, you would be in an okay spot up to the level of a Tekai user, because even as we see now in the recent One Piece episodes, Tekai does activate hockey. When Who's Who literally goes in Tekai form, his palms, his hands and his mouth get coated in hockey, which, you know, leads, you know, you got to give some props to the Straw Hats, because they were fighting people with straight up hockey back in Eni's lobby, but that's neither here nor there. So for the most part, metal Logia, you can turn into any naturally occurring metal and mercury, and not only that, but you would be able to just be virtually unstoppable in certain situations, just not all of them. Kid would have a field day with you, Ace would have a field day with you, Sabo would have a field day with you, but at the same time, a metal with a higher boiling point would be able to take them down too. So that's just my little take on how a metal person would work. So next up, I want to talk about the tree fruit, which is, it was one of my lesser fleshed out ideas, but after doing just a little bit more research, I actually found a quite interesting anecdote that you guys might want to hear. So in '99, a researcher or someone, like a scientist, I guess, I forgot what her true position was, but her name is Nicola Strickland, so you can look her up. She was in the Caribbean, and she found some sweet smelling fruit from a sweeter smelling tree. And little did she know, this was the Árbol de la Muerte. Shout out to all my Spanish Latino homies. Woo, we rule. Anyways, so this tree is so toxic that the bark, the sap, the leaves, and the fruit itself are all dangerous and can kill you straight up. And unfortunately, she ate one of those fruit and was taken out of commission for 8 hours with excruciating throat tightness and like a peppery burning feeling in her mouth. So this devil fruit I want to introduce next is the tree fruit, where essentially you have to have both your hands on the ground and you can grow a tree out of nothing. And it kind of reminds me of the guy from Stampede with the grow fruit, and obviously Aramaki, you saw him in the thumbnail, General Admiral Green Bull, who has the ability to just make all sorts of plant life, any type of plant. I think he called himself a woodsman with the power of natural logia. I think this is a goofy idea, but if you can make anything from the, what was the name of this tree? The Michianil tree, which is the Árbol de la Muerte, the tree of death. If you can make a tree that poisonous, or a tree as useful as cedar, which, if you know anything about some of your history, like a French explorer once was, like, essentially had a crew of like 100 dudes afflicted with scurvy, and when the Native Americans in America actually met with these people, they were like, stay back from us, we do have medicine for you though. And they gave them a scurvy treatment in the form of cedar tea, and they say the tea was so brutal and intense but so good that it healed them almost instantly. So that being said, this tree devil fruit has the potential to also be as broken as hell, where you can even maybe go one-on-one with someone like Aramaki, or you can be probably one of the better doctors around. Not only that, listen to the name again. Nicola Strickland. Nolan. What was Nolan's story? What was he known for in the story of One Piece? Healing the Shandians and the Skypians, or I think it was just the Shandians. Yeah, healing the Shandian tribe from their tree-related illness. Oda is a master of research. I love that man. He makes it so that we can make content talking about his story in every aspect and facet of it, and still find interesting story topics to deal and dwell on. Who would have thought? Nicola Strickland. Noland. Genius. So obviously with this tree devil fruit, you would need to be something like Law, how he is a doctor who ended up getting the Ope no Mi, so it was perfect for him. Or even like Luffy, a goofball who got a goofy ass devil fruit. So if you're a botanist, in your hands, this devil fruit would be amazing. You can make your cures, you can poison people, you can fight. I mean, you can uppercut someone with a tree. If you've ever played the game Okami, that's like literally one of the powers in the game. You just dot the ground with your paint god brush and boom, trees appear and you can uppercut your enemies with them. This is a devil fruit that honestly I would really like to see in the show, but we don't really need it at all anymore because of Aramaki, and I'm cool with that. Honestly though, my first two, the needle and the metal ones, please add those to the show, Oda. You have tons of time to add tons of devil fruits, and honestly I think I'm just going to keep making videos of me creating devil fruits. I might even go look at other people's videos and rate their devil fruits and whatnot. I think this is just a good topic to dwell on because I love devil fruits. They're one of the coolest parts of One Piece. So that was my little spiel. the Mickey and nail tree is the most dangerous tree ever, and it inspired a whole crap load of devil fruit ideas from me. So that was my little thing: the needle fruit, the metal fruit, and the tree fruit. So thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate the feedback I get on my videos lately. Please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment if you have any better ideas, if you have any counterpoints, if you have any cool devil fruit ideas. I'll gladly feature your comment in my next video. I've been Merch Hunter Ricky. You've been you, which is super, and thanks for watching.